What's your sense of things from where you've got the vantage point of being in Epping?
Yeah, I have. Although I have to say, after recent events, I've had a conversation with my husband last night where I said, I don't feel safe here anymore.
Tommy Robinson, the firebrand figure known for his fiery speeches and controversial activism, has once again ignited a national conversation, this time over a migrant hotel in Epping, Essex. In a video that's racked up hundreds of thousands of views within hours, Robinson stood outside the gates of the hotel, his voice calm but determined, and asked a question that has since echoed across social media and British dinner tables alike. Who gave them permission to do this in your community without asking you? The backdrop of the video was deceptively quiet. A former countryside hotel turned temporary housing site, now fenced and guarded, with CCTV watching every angle. But the tension in Robinson's voice revealed the chaos brewing beneath the surface.
Mr. Starmer, I hope you hear this. Why are you letting 500-600 undocumented men come across the channel every day into this country? We don't know who they are. We don't know what their background is. We're all local people. We're all good, local, tax-paying people. We don't want trouble. We don't want fights. My question would be, why, and all due respect to the police, why are you allowing...
According to him, and many in the local Epping community, the decision to turn the site into a migrant facility wasn't just bureaucratic overreach. It was a direct violation of democratic principles and community rights. Standing before a small but supportive crowd of local residents and followers, Robinson laid out his argument. It's not about race, it's not about hate. It's about control. It's about how the government can take a peaceful town like this and turn it into a migrant drop-off point without any consultation, without a single word to the people who live here, raise families here, and pay taxes here. The video cuts to clips of nearby residents, elderly couples, young parents, shopkeepers, all expressing the same mix of confusion and frustration. We woke up one morning, and there were men being bussed in, one woman says. Nobody told us. There were no leaflets, no meetings, nothing. Tommy nods solemnly. This is happening everywhere. Dover, Luton, Stoke, and now Epping. Quiet towns being transformed without permission. And the people funding it all. You, your taxes, your patience, your silence. What has drawn particular attention to the Epping case is the secrecy surrounding the process. According to locals and independent reporters, the deal to convert the hotel into migrant housing was brokered directly between the Home Office and a private management company. No votes, no council hearings, no media coverage, until it was already a done deal. That lack of transparency is what Robinson zeroed in on. This isn't about compassion, it's about profit. These hotels get government contracts worth millions. And guess what? The residents, many of them unvetted, many of them military-aged men, get food, lodging, and even spending allowances, while pensioners in Epping are choosing between heating and eating. Where's the fairness? He pauses, then asks again, this time staring directly into the camera. Did you agree to this? The question is rhetorical, but Robinson's aim is clear, to rattle the public out of complacency. And rattle it, he did. Within hours of the video going live, Epping's local Facebook groups were ablaze with debates. Some praised Robinson for saying what everyone else was too afraid to say, while others accused him of stoking division and exploiting fear. But the facts remain difficult to ignore. The Epping Hotel, once a staple for countryside weddings and weekend getaways, had been quietly repurposed into government-funded accommodation for asylum seekers. With little warning, residents saw coaches arrive, temporary fencing installed, and armed security brought in. Even local council members admitted in interviews that they were not informed in advance. Robinson, never one to hold back, pointed to the growing number of such cases across the UK. They don't want you to see this. That's why they attack me. That's why they censor the videos. But ask yourself, if this was such a noble cause, why are they hiding it? Why can't they be honest about the cost, the risk, and the long-term plan? He continued, they say it's temporary, but so were the emergency lockdown measures. So were the taxes. So was every promise that turned permanent. Once they move in, they don't move out. Critics were quick to respond. Several major media outlets accused Robinson of spreading anti-immigrant hysteria, with one columnist calling his video a stunt aimed at inflaming tensions rather than informing the public. But if it was a stunt, it struck a nerve. Over the weekend, dozens of residents staged a peaceful protest outside the hotel gates. They held signs reading "Epping says no" and "Local voices matter." There were no arrests, no violence, just ordinary citizens demanding answers. And that, Robinson argued, was the whole point. The media wants you to think that anyone who questions immigration is a thug or a racist. That's a lie. The people I meet on the street are mums, dads, pensioners. They don't hate anyone, they just want a say in what's happening to their own town. He added, "This isn't just about Epping. This is a national pattern. Quiet deals, no consent. And when you ask questions, they smear you. They call you far right. They try to silence you. But not anymore. People are waking up." In a follow-up live stream, Robinson outlined what he sees as a dangerous precedent. If the government can flood a town with unvetted migrants without consultation, what else can they do? Ban protests? Silence journalists? Freeze dissenters' bank accounts? It's not paranoia. It's already happening. He then challenged viewers directly. If you can't question what's happening in your own backyard, are you really free? Whether one agrees with Robinson or not, it's hard to deny his effectiveness as a disruptor. The Epping video sparked council inquiries, a formal petition, and even drew comments from members of parliament, some supporting the need for transparency, others warning of irresponsible rhetoric. But the public conversation had shifted. Even those who reject Robinson's politics admitted that the method of converting hotels into migrant shelters, quietly, suddenly, and without consent, was troubling. National papers ran op-eds asking, "Why the secrecy?" and "Should local councils have a say?" Meanwhile, government officials remained largely silent. The Home Office issued a vague statement citing urgent housing needs and temporary solutions, but declined to comment specifically on the Epping Hotel or how many others like it had been contracted. For Robinson, silence is proof of guilt. They have no answers, just policies made in secret, carried out behind closed doors. But that era is ending. We're going to every town, every city, every borough, and asking one question over and over again: who gave them permission? And perhaps that's the true power of Robinson's video, not in the outrage or even the claims themselves, but in the reframing of the issue. Not as a question of borders, but of consent. Not about immigration, but about democracy. As the dust settles in Epping, the migrant hotel remains. So do the security cameras and fences. But now there are also questions, loud ones, persistent ones, that won't go away. Who approved the deal? Why were residents not told? What's the long-term plan? And above all, did anyone ever ask you? That's Tommy Robinson's question. And whether you agree with him or not, it's one that's increasingly hard to ignore.